Boruto sat alone at the training grounds. It had been 3 days since his sparring match with Mitsuki, and he was still left stewing in his own thoughts. He replayed that fight over and over again in his mind, trying to figure out where he went wrong. Had the last 3 years really gone to waste? Was he not as powerful as he thought he was? In Karmatage, the masters would constantly sing his praises, always saying that he picked up on his skills rather well, faster than most. He was hailed as a prodigy, and everyone always looked to him as such, whether it be at the academy, Karmatage, anywhere. His future was never in doubt, but now the weight of everything that Boruto was feeling was finally starting to wash upon him. If he couldn't get past a mere exhibition fight, what was he going to do in the Chunin exams? Mitsuki was going to participate, and potentially at full strength. He wasn't going to have a way of holding back. And even if he didn't, Mitsuki clearly showed how outclassed he truly was. As Boruto continued to sit alone, stewing in his own self-pity, he heard footsteps walking behind him. Uncle Zabuza. I figured you'd be here. Still with your tail between your legs after your loss, huh? Boruto held his head down. I expected more from the son of Naruto. I figured you of all people wouldn't be so down after one fight. It's not like you. If anything, you should... I sucked. That's an understatement, Zabuza would say. You didn't just suck, you sucked ass. Yeah. What? You think I'm gonna sugarcoat things? It's not just you, it's your whole damn generation. Look, if I have to hear another spiel about how we have it easy, I'm gonna puke. That's not the point. Don't act like I'm not grateful for things being the way they are now. The last thing I'd want is for you to live the kind of life I lived. Or a life like your father, or your mother. I'm damn proud of you kids. But I can easily see the flaws. It's something that Naruto looks at optimistically, but I see it for what it is. It's the truth. You children have all of the potential of the world. The potential to be one of the greatest generation of shinobi of all time. But you lack the power, the focus, the drive. You spent 3 years at that little magic school of yours, and where did it get you? You learned all these techniques, all these jutsus, everything that you could possibly gain and master, and yet in the end it wasn't enough. You and that kid, you're not cut from the same cloth. He has the killer instinct, the drive. I could feel the bloodlust. He was keeping it suppressed with everything he had. If he wanted to go all out, he could have absolutely slaughtered you. Boruto held down his head after hearing this. He didn't deny what his uncle had said. It was the truth. If Mitsuki had really wanted to go all out from the start, Boruto never would have stood a chance. And yet, he was the one that opened his big fat mouth to Dr. Katasuke, talking about how he was going to win the Chunin exams, how he'd take on all and any comers that wanted to show up. He talked all that talk, and in less than a month's time, he'd have to actually walk the walk. And from where he was sitting, he'd be lucky if he even made it to the semifinals. You have the skills, Zabuza would say, but what you lack is the power. You don't have drive or focus. You don't even know what you want to be. I mean, I don't know, but If you don't know, why even bother? Why not just cut tail and run while you have the chance? Save everyone the trouble and the embarrassment, including your father. Hey now, Boruto said in defiance. I'm not running from anything. Huh? I'm sorry. I don't think I heard you. Did your acorns finally drop or... I said I'm not running from anything! Oh, so now you can put some bass in your voice, huh? Seems like our boy's starting to become a man. What? You getting angry? You want to do something? Go on, do it. Zabuza would push him. Cut it out. What? I'm sorry. Did I hurt your wee little feelings just now? Zabuza pushed him again. Cut it out. Aw. Or what? You gonna stop me? Are you? Huh? Zabuza was now poking him in the chest, angering Boruto. His blood was starting to boil. There was a lot of things he could put up with from his family, and his uncle wasn't one to play with kid gloves. But still, with everything he was feeling right now, the last thing he wanted was to be poked. Huh? What's that? You got a problem with it? Well, what are you gonna do about it? You gonna cry? Your mommy's not here. No one's coming to help you, Boruto. What are you gonna... Boruto would immediately jump up and throw a right hook straight towards Zabuza. He lifted his forearm in time to block it, but still, he could feel the intensity of that punch. Boruto would turn it around with a kick before delivering a flurry of taijutsu offense, and Zabuza would counter every single attack he threw. But the pressure, the hits that he was throwing, they were focused, coordinated. They had ferocity behind them. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Zabuza would finally finish the little sparring match with a quick and swift kick to the gut, knocking Boruto back to the ground. He might have been talented, but he had a long way to go before he was ready to start challenging grown-ups. But still, if you had came with Mitsuki with even half of that ferocity of yours just now, perhaps you would have done better. You lack power. It's not your skills that's the issue. You lack power and focus. If you don't have those things, you're not gonna make it to the finals. And you're not gonna be able to keep that promise of yours. I don't know a lot of things, and I hate most things. But do you want to know what I hate most of all? I hate liars. I hate people that want to make a fool out of me for believing in them. So tell me, Boruto, am I a fool for believing in you? Of course not. Well, we'll see. You got less than a month, and that's all the time we have to work with. Time? That's right. I'm gonna get you in shape for the exams, and I'm gonna get a little help in doing it. Meet me at the waterfall on the east side of Konoha tomorrow. 6 a.m. sharp. Don't be late. The next morning, Boruto would arrive. Zabuza would be waiting there along with Konohamaru. Uncle Zabuza. Mr. Konohamaru. Hey, Boruto. What's up? So you're on time. But you're still late. Huh? But I arrived. When I say a certain time, it means you get here 30 minutes earlier. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't bother showing up. but that's besides the point. Konohamaru, hand him your weapon. Konohamaru pulled the executioner's blade off his back and tossed it over to Boruto. He was just barely able to grasp and hold it in his hands. The weapon was heavy, so much so that he could barely keep it off the ground. Alright, your first order of business. I want 1,000 swings, right now. Huh? You heard me. You're gonna swing that blade 1,000 times in cutting formation. And not once are you gonna let that blade hit the ground until you're finished. The moment it touches even a blade of grass, you're starting over. You got that? Fearing in his master, Boruto did just as he was instructed. Although sadly, by the time he had reached swing number 777, for just one moment, the tip of the blade made contact with the ground. He had only been 40 minutes into his exercise, and he was forced to start over. It wasn't until the late evening where Boruto finally reached the end of his count. 996, 997, 998, 999, 1,000! Boruto collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. His arms felt like jelly. He couldn't even lift them anymore. Not bad, Boruto. When he made me do this exercise, I was out here till almost midnight and it was impressive. Not bad for your first day. I hope you're ready, because you're doing it again tomorrow. And so, the process would continue for that first week. Every day, 1,000 swings. But as each day went by, the time became less and less and less, until finally they reached the 7th day, and Boruto completed 1,000 swings of the executioner's blade in little under 2 hours. He had definitely made progress, but this was only the first leg of his training. The next week, Boruto would repeat the process, only this time he'd have to stand on water. He had to focus chakra to his feet to keep him afloat. He couldn't use any form of magic. What Zabuza was trying to do was build up the boy's physical strength. To use chakra, and in a similar vein, to use magic, it was a combination of your mental and your physical energies. From what Zabuza deduced in his observation of Boruto, he was able to master, well, master being a strong word, he was able to pick up techniques faster than the average genin. He could learn just about anything, but he didn't have the fundamentals to go into it. If the best way of describing it were like this, you could show Boruto a jutsu, he could mimic it, but he wouldn't have the same power or emphasis behind it. If Boruto were able to make a fireball, it wouldn't be nearly as powerful as the one Sorcerer would make, even though Boruto could probably learn the fireball jutsu faster than Sorcerer could. That was just the example for how Boruto's teaching methods were. He had the skills, but he lacked the power to have anything effective, anything substantial, anything that could last. And so, that's why they were trying to build him up. Each day was harder and harder than the one that came before it. Still having to produce 1,000 swings, but now maintaining his chakra into his feet, allowing him to stay above surface in the water. After the second stage was done, then he had to complete the exercise while having random shuriken and kunai thrown at him. Now he would have to stand on the water, swing the blade, and deflect multiple attacks that were coming at him. By the end of the third week, Boruto had definitely seen some massive results. For one, physically speaking, he was a lot stronger than he was before. He felt a lot more powerful, a lot more focused and refined. That was where Konohamaru was going to step in. If you're going into the Chunin exams, then it's time for us to even the playing field, don't you think? Even the playing field? That boy knows the Rasengan from his training with Jiraiya. I take it Naruto hasn't gone over it with you, Zabuza would say. No, Dad never taught it to me. Well, thankfully, I also know how to perform the Rasengan, Konohamaru said with pride. Don't get cocky. You had to make it with a clone at first. Hey, I can make it now by myself. That's what we're building towards. You're gonna learn how to make the Rasengan. Am I even gonna have enough time for that? I heard it took Grandpa a long time to master that jutsu. Your father learned it in little over a month's time. And you only have but a few weeks. If you really want to take that next step, then you're going to have to do something that even your father and your grandfather couldn't do. You think you're up for the task? From there, Boruto would begin the steps to learning the Rasengan. And even much to Zabuza's surprise, in just 3 days, he made something. It was smaller than normal, but it looked like a Rasengan. Master Zabuza? Konohamaru would say. You gotta be kidding me. Is that really the best you can do? I'm trying. It's just... Damn it! Boruto flung his hand in frustration. They watched as the Rasengan would dissipate off in the distance. Boruto collapsed into the ground, tired and exhausted. But then they all heard something. It sounded like the tree trunk had gotten smacked with something akin to a bomb. They looked to see that there was a deep dent into it. As they observed, judging from the direction of where it was made, it looked like it was where the Rasengan would have gone. You don't think, Konohamaru would ask Zabuza. Boruto, make another one of those Rasengans. Boruto did as instructed, and once again he threw it at the tree. Just like before, it vanished, but right before it made contact, it reappeared, smacking into the side of the tree and leaving a pretty decent dent. Unbelievable. When in the... Boruto, how did you do that? Huh? I don't know. Why is my Rasengan doing this? It's not normal, that's for sure. It could be that he's adding something to it, but what could it be? Boruto, what's your chakra affinity? I think my main one's lightning release, Uncle Zabuza. Lightning release. Could it be lightning chakra? Konohamaru would say. Potentially, but we have no way of knowing. With that, Zabuza and Konohamaru would continue to train Boruto for the rest of the month, working on his strength and conditioning, his fundamentals, as well as making good application of that strange Rasengan he could make. There was a feeling of festivity in the air. The 5 Kage were gathering together. The Chunin exams, one of the largest in recent ninja history, was set upon them, with Konoha being the host for this year's event. But there was more buzz around it than normal. Many potential candidates, powerful shinobi, and others were going to be making their way this time around, as well as the unveiling of Dr. Katasuke's new scientific ninja team, What gadgets and gizmos had he been creating just for this moment? Well, the doctor was extremely satisfied with his work. He'd been doing his research in shinobi culture for a while now. Ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, all of it was nothing more but science. Numbers that could easily be broken down and calculated. Of course, there were still wondrous things about ninjutsu that the world truly didn't know. The fact that it was capable of doing something like bringing back the dead, or breaking other laws of nature. It was an infinite resource of energy and other explorations just waiting to be tapped into. But that study was for a different day and time. Now was the time to make his point mute, because it wouldn't just be the Kage who were in attendance, feudal lords, rich clientele, other potential buyers. The sky was the limit for what scientific ninja tools could bring to the world. The shinobi arts, Dr. Katasuke would say. Ancient, but primitive. You know, there's said to be a time that ninjutsu didn't even exist in the world. There was a time when a man had to rely on nothing but his hard work, his sweat, blood, determination, and the works of his own hands. That includes tools. But somewhere along the way, they've become demonized, as if somehow I've broken some unforsaken rule. It's primitive thinking like that is what will hold back the world from true evolution, from true innovation. Everything's changing in more ways than one. And so many people fear the change. But I want to show them. I want to show them the future that I want to create. A future where a man will not be judged based on how big of a fireball he can conjure. Because I can conjure fireballs too. I can manipulate water and lightning and wind and earth at my whim. Easily. And I don't have to go through a shinobi academy. I don't have to waste hours of my day doing the grunt work for little gain. You are right, Doctor, the assistant would say. Aren't I now? But Lord Seventh doesn't seem to realize that. But what would I expect? A man-child who was gifted a mythical beast. Tell me, how much work did you have to put into to use it? Creating large chakra-like bombs at a whim. What would he know about hard work? He had everything handed to him. And then there's the damned Uchiha. Literal genetic lottery is what I call it. What? I'm inferior because I wasn't born with magical glowing red eyes that can just grant me any mystical power and ability that I want without whim. And then there's the damned Hyuga, just born strong. Yet they don't see the hypocrisy in any of this. Dojutsu, tail beast, being born with these special and inane mutations. That's all it is. Eugenics. The random pick of the genetic lottery. That's what the shinobi world was built on. And now they're fearful. They're fearful because I plan on changing the status quo. Because I'm going to show them that all of their fancy tricks don't make them as special as they think they are. My team is going to wipe the floor with them in the Chunin exams. And especially that brat, Boruto Uzumaki. I hope Lord Seventh has a comfy view. He can get to watch his son be the first to fall, as I will lead the new age of Shinobi. This concludes Boruto the Sorcerer's Son. What If Boruto Was a Sorcerer? Season 1, Part 7. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow afternoon's video as we'll continue with Boruto the Sorcerer's Son, What If Boruto Was a Sorcerer? Season 1, Part 8. But that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.